You are about to look at a business that sells absolutely nothing. No product, no service, no employee touches anything. A metal box, a lock, and a monthly invoice. Self-storage grosses over $39 billion a year in the United States, and the thing buried under every single facility can bankrupt you before your first customer moves in. Self-storage looks like the easiest money in real estate. You pour concrete, you bolt metal doors, and you wait. No tenants calling at midnight, no toilets to fix, no leases to negotiate, just squares on a grid and checks in the mail. But this is not a storage business. This is a real estate development project disguised as a passive investment. Here is the number. The average self-storage facility in the United States generates about $750,000 a year in gross revenue. Operating expenses eat roughly 35 to 40%. What remains $450,000 drops to the bottom line. On a building that cost somewhere between $2 and $5 million to develop. That is a 9 to 20% cash-on-cash return in year one. Almost nothing in American real estate touches that. And here is why. Your cost of goods sold is zero. You are renting air, conditioned air if you are upscale, unconditioned air if you are not. Either way, air. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how a self-storage facility makes money, how much it costs to build one from dirt, and why the smartest operators in this business are not running storage companies. They are running real estate machines that happen to store boxes. You will also learn about the legal process that lets you open someone's unit, auction their belongings to strangers, and keep the money. It is legal, it is common, and it is the single darkest corner of this business that nobody talks about until it is happening to them. So here is the deal. I am handing you $3 million. Your job is to end up with more than you started with. We are going to build a storage facility from raw land and run it for 12 months. At the end, the verdict, let's go. You do not start with a building. You start with dirt. And that dirt is the most expensive decision you will make, because everything that happens after every dollar of revenue, every dollar of expense, every customer who drives in or drives past is locked the moment you sign for the land. Self-storage is a 3-mile business. Your customer lives within 3 miles of your facility. That is it. If there are not enough people, enough renters, enough life transitions happening inside that circle, the best building in the world will sit empty. A feasibility study costs $15,000 to $25,000. It tells you two things: how many people live in your radius and how many storage square feet already exist. If the ratio is under 7 square feet of storage per person, you have a market. Above 8, you are walking into a war. You do not start with a building. You start with dirt. And that dirt is the most expensive decision you will make, because everything that happens after every dollar of revenue, every dollar of expense, every customer who drives in or drives past is locked the moment you sign for the land. Self-storage is a 3-mile business. Your customer lives within 3 miles of your facility. That is it. If there are not enough people, enough renters, enough life transitions happening inside that circle, the best building in the world will sit empty. A feasibility study costs $15,000 to $25,000. It tells you two things: how many people live in your radius and how many storage square feet already exist. If the ratio is under 7 square feet of storage per person, you have a market. Above 8, you are walking into a war. You buy 2 acres for $600,000. Now the building itself, steel frames, concrete slab, metal roll-up doors, runs roughly $45 to $65 per square foot for a standard drive-up facility. You are building 50,000 square feet. Call it $2.7 million for the structure alone. But here is where the number explodes. Site work, grading the land, pouring the access roads, the drainage system, the stormwater retention pond that your city requires, the fire suppression system, fencing, security cameras, the gate system, signage, landscaping to satisfy the planning board, and the silent one, the utility connections, water, sewer, and electrical to the property line. In some markets, the utility hookup alone costs over $100,000. Total development budget, $3.2 to $4.5 million. We are building at $3.5 million. Add the land, $4.1 million total. You have $3 million. You need a loan. SBA lenders, no self-storage. They like it. Typical terms, 75% loan to cost, 25-year amortization, interest somewhere around 7 to 8% in today's market. You are borrowing $3.1 million. Your down payment, the equity is $1 million out of your $3 million. You have $2 million left in reserve. Your monthly debt service on $3.1 million at 7.5% over 25 years, roughly $23,000 a month. Write that number down. $23,000 leaves your account on the first of every month, whether you have one customer or 500. That is the heartbeat of this business. Miss it. And the bank does not send a letter. The bank sends a lawyer. Now, here is the part they do not print in the brochure. You are not going to be full on day one. Self-storage facilities take 18 to 36 months to reach what the industry calls stabilized occupancy, roughly 85 to 90% full. During those months, your revenue does not cover your debt. You are bleeding cash every month. The reserve is not a safety net. The reserve is the plan. Month 3. You have 47 units rented out of 400. That is 12% occupancy. Revenue, $11,000. Debt service alone is $23,000. You are underwater by $12,000 this month. And this is normal. This is what every storage developer goes through. The question is not whether you lose money in the first year. You will. The question is how fast you fill. And filling is not about the building. It is about the address. You are competing with the Public Storage 3 miles east that has been there for 20 years and shows up first on Google. Your building is beautiful. Nobody knows it exists. Your first-year marketing budget should be $30,000 to $50,000. Google Ads, local SEO, a move-in special, first month free, and the single most powerful weapon in self-storage marketing, the sign on the highway. If 10,000 cars pass your building every day and your sign is visible for 3 seconds, you will fill. If your facility is behind a hill or off the main road, no amount of advertising fixes the problem you built into the ground. Self-storage is the only business in this series where your product costs nothing. Your customer cannot easily leave, and your revenue automatically increases every quarter without you doing anything. Zero cost of goods, near zero turnover cost, built-in price escalation, and the ability to expand on land you already own at a fraction of the original cost. But it is not a passive investment. It is a development project. You are building a small industrial site from raw dirt, navigating zoning, environmental, and construction risk, and bleeding cash for 18 months before the machine turns on. The people who get rich in self-storage are not passive investors. Month 6, 60% occupied. Revenue is now covering debt service, but barely. Here is where the real game starts, and it is a game that almost nobody outside the industry understands. Self-storage pricing is not like apartment rent. You do not set a price and leave it. You run a yield management system, the same software airlines use to price seats. Every unit in your facility has a different price depending on how full you are, what day it is, and how long the customer's been there. A brand new customer books a 10 by 10 for $99 because you need the body in the unit. 6 months later, that same customer is paying $139. A year later, $169. This is called street rate versus existing customer rate, and it is the single most important financial lever in the entire business. Why does it work? Because self-storage has the highest switching cost of any month-to-month service in America. Not in dollars, in effort. Your customer would rather pay $20 more per month than rent a truck, drive here on a Saturday, move 400 boxes to a competitor, and do it all again. The average customer stays for 14 months. Some stay for years. And every month they stay, you raise the rate. That is not a bug in the business. That is the business. But here is the edge that separates storage from every other landlord business. When an apartment tenant leaves, you repaint, recarpet, and lose a month of rent. When a storage customer leaves, you sweep the floor and rent it again tomorrow. Turnover cost approximately zero. And the new customer pays street rate, which after 2 years of increases on the old customer is often higher than what the departing customer was paying anyway. You make money when they stay. You make money when they leave. The only way you lose is if the unit sits empty, and at 85% occupancy in a good market, it does not sit long. Now combine all three forces: zero turnover cost, automatic rate escalation on existing tenants, and new tenants who pay market rate on day one. This is a revenue machine that accelerates over time without you adding a single unit. Year one revenue at 60% occupancy, $380,000. Year three at 87%, with rate increases compounded, $720,000. Same building, same doors, same air, nearly double the income. Month 8, you have a customer who is not paid in 90 days. Her name is on the lease. Her belongings are in your unit. A crib, winter clothes, photo albums, a couch her mother gave her, and you are about to sell all of it to a stranger for $200. This is the lien process, and every state has one. When a customer stops paying, you do not call a collection agency. You do not file a lawsuit. You follow a statutory procedure, certified letters, waiting periods, public notice, and at the end of it, you cut the lock, roll up the door, and auction everything inside to whoever bids the highest. In most states, you keep the proceeds up to the amount owed. In some states, you keep all of it. This is not a rare event. Industry data shows that 5 to 10% of units go through some stage of the lien process in any given year. On a 400-unit facility, that is 20 to 40 units per year, where you are mailing legal notices, tracking deadlines, and preparing to destroy someone's belongings because they could not pay $149 a month. And here is what nobody prepares you for. It is not the legal process that gets to you. The legal process is mechanical. It is the phone call. The call from the woman who says she was in the hospital, or the man who says he lost his job, or the family that says they just need 2 more weeks, and you have to say no. Because if you say yes, if you make an exception, skip the timeline, delay the notice, you have potentially violated the statute, exposed yourself to liability, and set a precedent that makes the next call harder. The lien process is the single most emotionally difficult part of owning a storage facility. It is also the only mechanism that keeps your business from becoming a free warehouse for people who will never pay.